I can do a video on my podcast. Where I break down the last 9 games the Pelicans have used Zion Williamson as the primary ball handler and what type of actions that has led to. I looked it up this morning. 54,000 views on YouTube. But I want to call out a coach yesterday. Oh, that gets tens of millions of engagements. That's the ecosystem we live in. So do fans actually want to be educated or not? Do they?
The NBA has been around for 77 years, and it's safe to say the fans' difference of viewing the game has always changed and probably always will change. You have your casuals, your media enjoyers, your unbiased viewers, the people who hoop but don't actually care about the basketball till the finals are on. Needless to say, there are tons of different viewing stances. Today's video, we're going to break down every type of NBA fan. What I want you guys to do is 1, let me know if I missed a subcategory, and 2, understand that this video is completely opinion based. I just want to know where you guys land, where you guys lay, what type of fans you are, and I will say when I'm talking about it what type of fan I think I am. Without wasting any more time, let's get straight into this, talking about the first and most popular fan in my opinion, the NBA casual. You probably revolve most of your conversations around the GOAT debate, or you talk frequently about Victor Wembanyama. It's just what the mainstream media presses towards you. It's not your fault. Being a quote-unquote casual is not a bad thing. Being a quote-unquote casual is usually for the man or woman who is working 40 hours a week, that doesn't have time, or in their free time they don't want to be watching basketball. They don't want to watch podcasts on basketball. They don't want to watch mainstream media on basketball or YouTube videos on basketball or whatever. Being a casual is not a bad thing, just like being any of these things are not a bad or a good thing. It's just what you are. It's who you are. It's how you enjoy digesting your NBA content. If you're an NBA fan at all, which if you're watching this video, you probably are. So again, being a casual, you're probably just talking about things that are popping up beyond the mainstream. Like if you were a football fan and you were a football casual, you would be talking about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift a majority of the season. And next we have the opposite of that, which is a basketball stan, someone who digests the media from many platforms but often stays away from the mainstream media, as it's just a bunch of people yelling over each other, and most of the time it's nonsense or dated takes. When I say that, we're talking about the Colin Cowherds, the Stephen A. Smiths, the Mad Dogs, the Kendrick Perkins. A lot of these guys, it's their job to go up and be entertainers, not educators. And that's why I put the clip in the beginning of this, because JJ Redick really, while he does participate on First Take, he does participate in the mainstream media. He has his podcast, The Old Man and the Three Things. He has his, The Dunker Spot is on, Tim Legler's on, various guests are on, Tommy's obviously always there. They're really doing a great job of educating, and I think someone like JJ Redick or the Dunker Spot, or Zach Lowe, these are more of the medias that the basketball stans are digesting, and they're staying away from the entertainers and leaning more towards the educators. Next we have the hooper, someone who plays basketball in high school, or maybe they played at the college level, but they don't really care so much about the NBA. They will watch it with their friends. They'll watch when the finals or like marquee games are on, like if the Cavs and Warriors were playing a couple of years ago, they would watch it. Nowadays, if the Heat and Celtics are playing, or the Heat and the Knicks, or the Celtics and the Knicks, the Nuggets and the Warriors, Clippers and the Suns, like when these big games are on, they might end up watching it, but they would rather just go hoop in real life, or they would go play 2K. I definitely at some point in my life was this person. I would rather just do the rebuilds than watch the game. Like I would play my team or my league, but then through playing those game modes, I actually fell really in love with the NBA. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with this. Again, I'm gonna keep saying this. There's nothing wrong with being this guy or that guy. We're just classifying genres of fans here. Next, we have the media enjoyers. Now, I feel like these people are more in it for the drama, or they're just older and they don't have the time or really don't feel like doing the due diligence to look into things like Zach Lowe or the Old Man and the Three or the various content creators on YouTube. If you're a media enjoyer, you're probably enjoying Stephen A. Smith, Colin Cowherd, Kendrick Perkins, A lot of these guys, maybe even Jamal Crawford, who's new into the media, but he's doing a very good job. And it's probably, like I said, because it's what you grew up on, it's what you're familiar with. It's very simple. You turn the TV on, you turn the radio on the way to work. It's the first thing that pops in if you actually, give a rat's ass about basketball. It's easier to watch that. Now, me personally, like I said, I do not watch Stephen A. Smith. I don't watch Colin Cowherd. It's not my cup of tea. But if it's for you, that's amazing. I'm glad you're, getting your, hoops information. And I think they're more of entertainers than educators at this point. And that's not to say Stephen A. and them didn't have a hell of an upbringing. I 110% admire the basketball journalism upbringing. I mean, that's what I wanted to do and still am trying to do. It's just I'm doing journalism through YouTube rather than through, this is more like a visual podcast, I guess you'd say. Next, we have the home team. You watch strictly your favorite home team or your favorite basketball team, and you may digest media regarding them and only then. A good example of this be if you're from Chicago, you may only watch things like The Last Dance documentary. You might watch Kenny Beecham or Rusty Buckets on YouTube. Just strictly Bulls content if you're from Chicago. I know some people that are like this. They're from Cleveland. They only want to watch the Cavs. That's totally 110% okay. It's fun to root for a fan base in an NBA team through the lows, and then when they're great, like the Denver Nuggets, they root for the Nuggets when they're low after the Carmelo Anthony era and they're not the greatest. And then you get to watch them win an NBA championship. Like, that's why basketball and football and, hockey, all these sports, they're so emotional, because we have the home team fans, the people that would do anything for them, the people that root for them when they're in the lottery, and the people that root for them when they're in the playoffs. If you are a home team fan, salute. Next, we have the unbiased approach, someone who watches the game of basketball no matter how big or little the name of the game is. They view the media and watch pretty much all things hoop, trying to learn more. This is kind of where I am. I don't really care to follow one team, as my job as a basketball, I guess you'd say YouTuber, content creator, whatever, is to not be biased. I never want to give you guys bias. I think it's pretty crappy if I'm constantly shoving an agenda down your throat. So I would say I'm more of the unbiased approach. However, like the home team, I would say another subgenre is enjoying a player. Like, a lot of people will say, I'm not a Lakers fan, I'm a LeBron James fan. So when LeBron was in Miami, I liked the Heat. When LeBron was in Cleveland, I liked the Cavs. And that's totally okay too. I feel, similar to Kawhi Leonard. I loved watching that Toronto run. I loved watching him in San Antonio. I really enjoy watching the Clippers play basketball. That's also because I like Ty Lue as a head coach, though. I also like James Harden as a player. Paul George is very fun to watch. Ivica Zubac, Norman Powell's a hell of a guy. Even when they had Luke Kennard, I liked watching him as well. That's neither here nor there. That's just another example. Then finally, we have probably the second most popular subgenre, and that is the highlights and or film guy. Someone who watches breakdown videos because they're trying to either A, get better at basketball, or B, they're just watching the highlights because they never have time to watch the full game. Maybe they wake up before work, they're watching the highlights before breakfast. Or at night, if you see, the 60-point or 70-point games that we've been seeing, you're like, damn, I gotta go and watch that. I know a lot of people in my personal life who don't really care at all about basketball, but when they see that Luka Doncic or Joel Embiid scored 70, they're like, well, how the hell did that happen? But where do you guys lay? Where do you land? Let me know in the comments below. I know this was kind of a different style of video, but I just wanted to crack open some conversation as we are gearing up to uploading every day in March. If you made it this far, appreciate your support as always. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Stay happy, healthy, and blessed. Peace.